Hey, is this me? I can't tell.
Yo.
Yeah.
We have an album review.
Woohoo.
Holy fucking shit, this album is awesome.
Yeah.
That's Exodus with their new album, Blood In, Blood Out. Coming out October 14th, Nuclear Blast Records. I think it's their 10th album. It's the first with the return of Steve Souza. Steve Sauter. Steve Souza. He played on a lot of the early Exodus records, you know, some of their first, and he played on Tempo the Dam from 2004. And he's back now. They got rid of Rob Dukes. So yeah, so there's a big change there. But, you know, Gary Holt's still in the band. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, what'd you think, Keith?
This album, like, I mean, I can't, you know, this is the first time listening to it, and I mean, I kind of almost forgot that Exodus was putting out an album, so, you know, this kind of came in low on the radar at first. And this album just goes. I don't think it stops once.
Nope.
Like, it's all thrash all the time. Like, everything is... that's honestly the best way to describe it. Every song busts in with some really fast, like, aggressive, stereotypical thrash riff, but then it works, you know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing about thrash, is that, yeah, they do a lot of the same stuff over and over again, but it fucking works all the time. And, Gary Holt writes all the riffs for Exodus, right? Some of these riffs are just incredible. The one in, what's the one with Kirk Hammett? I
Salt and Wound.
Salt and Wound is awesome. Like the verse riff, the middle part riff in Blood In, Blood Out is also awesome. Like, there's just so many riffs like that where it's like you can, you know, picture guys just stomping around in the pit like at a show, and it's just it's just awesome. I mean, I'm using that word a lot, but that's honestly what this is. This is a phenomenal thrash album. Steve sounds really good. I really like his vocals. You know, I've not listened to too much early Exodus, so wasn't aware of what he sounded like, and so I like his vocals. He reminds me a little bit, just slightly, of Bobby Blitz a little bit, but he does have his own thing going on. His vocals are very, very harsh, you know, the screams and stuff like that. And it's cool. Gary Holt, you know, again, does an amazing job writing riffs, and the solos are thrashy and shreddy and everything you'd want on this album. In the song Salt and Wound, there's you know, Kirk Hammett does the guitar solo. You know, Kirk Hammett was like the original lead guitarist of Exodus way back when, before he was in Metallica. And you can tell it's a Kirk Hammett solo. Lots of wah, lots of shredding. It sounds like every other solo Kirk Hammett's ever done in the last 10 years or so. So, yeah. I mean, it's nothing new. Chuck Billy does vocals on the song on this album. He does... BTK. And again, I was like, whoa, this just got really heavy really quickly. What the hell happened? And I was like, oh, Chuck Billy, gotcha. And then, who's the other guy on the album?
I don't even know. Dan the Automator.
Yeah, I've never heard of him, and he's on...
First track, Black 13.
Black 13, so it's... You know, there's quite a few guest appearances, which is something, I don't know, for... You know, a thrash band, you don't really hear many thrash bands having, like, oh, let's get somebody on this album. It's usually, let's just fucking play. The drums, I think, are some of the best parts of this album. It's got those great thrash drum beats where it's simplistic, but then at the same time, it's upbeat, and it keeps it, you know, the tempo going, and it just, you know, again, it grabs you by the face and shakes you. And just, you know, says, metal. And that's basically what this whole album is. You know, this is good because, you know, I like I feel like so far this year, this is the best thrash album, definitely, to come out this year. I liked Overkill's album, which is the only other one that comes to off the top of my head of thrash albums that came out this year. And it was good, but I felt like there were some parts that were lacking, whereas this does not lack in any way, shape, or form. This album just rips the entire way through from start to finish. It's just a good listen. If you like Exodus, you like thrash, definitely check this out. It is a good record to listen to.
Some might not agree with what I'm about to say, but I don't really care. I would honestly put this album up there with Bonded by Blood. And that, personally, to me, is like Exodus' best album, and that is the classic Exodus album. And this album is just fucking thrash magic. It is just, from start to finish, fucking phenomenal, at least in my opinion. I mean, this is by far the best album that they've done since Shovel-Headed Killing Machine, and yeah, I would put this up there with like one of the best Exodus records ever. I don't even know where to begin. It's just so good. First of all, it starts off with the song Black 13, which has a very Exodus intro to me, and then it just kicks into the thrash. Almost every time, every song starts off with this fucking amazing guitar riff, and Keith and I would look at each other and we're like, yeah, yes, and then the drums kick in, and we're just like fucking bobbing our heads like idiots, and then the middle section comes in, and it's like slow, and it's that just fucking slowly stomp around in the pit type of riff in the drums, and then we look at each other again, we're like, yes, and it's just, it is the shit, man, and it is so good. And I mean, it's just the riffs, and a lot of thrash metal albums, death metal albums, whatever, they live and die by the riffs, and if the riffs aren't there, then it's really going to suffer. And the riffs are here, and the songwriting is here. I feel this band's a little bit rejuvenated with Steve back in the band. Steve is like the Exodus singer, in my opinion. I liked Rob Dukes a lot, don't get me wrong. He was one pissed off motherfucker, but Steve is just, he's perfect for this band. He has such a unique sound to him that nobody else has in thrash. And he's a pissed off guy too. And that's what I love about Exodus. They're just they are like one of the most pissed off bands in all of metal. It's just, their vocals just scream of, I want to fucking murder you, and I want to just slice your head off, and just, it is so awesome. And I remember watching an interview of Gary Holt, and I forget what it was on. He's just like, I just want to sing about killing people. And I'm just like, that's Exodus. Every song's about fucking, like, killing somebody or something. It's crazy, and it is so cool. And it's just, some of the lines, are just like, man, like, you just sound so angry right now. It kind of gets me really excited, and it's so awesome. And I just feel there's vocals where there needs to be vocals, and the riffs and the music just go, and it's great. It's just the songwriting is so damn near flawless on here. It literally, like he said, this album goes and it doesn't stop, because once the one song ends, another one starts, and it's fucking fast, and it's all in your face, and it's great. The part with Chuck Billy and BTK is pretty fucking heavy, and I thought it was really, really cool. There's a couple riffs on here that are just so goddamn crunchy. It's like, Exodus has one of the best guitar sounds out there. They're just a heavy fucking band, and it's no different here. The riffs are solid. Gary Holt and Lee Atlas, they do a fantastic job. I know Holt writes most of the songs, but god damn it, the guitars are so awesome on here. The solos rip, and even Kirk Hammett's solo kind of rips. I feel without the wah, it would have sounded a hell of a lot better, but that's like every Kirk Hammett solo anymore. He needs to stop using blah, man.
You have to chop his leg off. He said that.
Well, then chop his fucking leg off. I don't care. I mean, like, come on. That solo would have sounded so much better, because sometimes there's just, like, the wah isn't right, and it's just like, ugh. And it makes the notes just sound
Bad.
like turds. And not all the time, but it's just like, okay. I mean, the solo wasn't bad, but the moment that shines in Salt the Wound or whatever is that opening riff. And it's just like when the drums kick in, that's when you just hop in the pit and you run around like a motherfucker. And you just thrash around, and it's great. If you can't tell, this album makes me really excited. And like, I was kind of getting tired. And then I listened to this album, and I'm like, dude, like, it's so good. Tom Hunting on the drums, I believe that's his name. Absolutely fucking phenomenal job. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it just feels like the beats are perfect on here. It's not like one of those things where it would build up or something, and then it would go to a beat where I'm just like, it could have been better. It should have been slowed down. It should have been sped up. No, it went to the perfect fucking beat. And I loved a couple of moments on here where it was a little bit slower, but then it picked up a little bit in tempo. And it's just like, dude, there's almost too much thrash on here. And it's awesome. I mean, fucking... I've been in a really big thrash mood recently, and so this just hits the fucking spot, man. And I guarantee you, at the end of the year, this will be in my top 5, if not my top 3, by the end of the year. I am extremely impressed with this album. Maybe some of you out there will feel like, it's okay, and maybe I'm coming off overly impressed. But I fucking love this record. It is so good, dude, and it touches my balls in the perfect spot, and it touches them aggressively. It just wants to really rip them off. I'm like, oh, keep going, yes. Oh. Steve Salza, man, that guy fucking he rips. Yeah, so good. This record
is really good.
And I'm kind of with Keith. I kind of forgot that they had this album coming out. I got really excited when they announced it a couple months ago, and then it kind of snuck up on me with all these releases coming up, and I'm just like, dude, Exodus, yeah, their new album streaming. And I'm like, this album is amazing. That's kind of cool. How would you give this album?
I would give this album a definite solid 9 out of 10. This album is damn near perfect in terms of with thrash. It's just a good listen to for the good thrash metal fan. It's awesome.
I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. There's so many good songs on here. Salt the Wound is amazing. Collateral Damage is probably my favorite song. There's a lot of good gang vocals on here that are very thrash and just fit that style. And that's a song that has a lot of gang vocals, and it's cool. Yeah, but 9.5 out of 10 for me. Numb, they covered Linkin Park. I'm just kidding. But Numb's a really good song too. Honor Killings. So good.
Solid. Just listen to this.
Just do it. Just fucking listen to it and thrash around in your fucking house or at work or whatever. I'm glad I didn't listen to this at work. Nothing would happen. I would just get up at my office and just fucking thrash around, run around the office like an asshole. They'd be like, what are you doing? I'm like,
I'm fucking listening to Exodus.
What are you doing, man? We're gonna get a fucking circle pit.
In the office, in your cubicle.
Exactly.
One-man circle pit around the office chair.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.